This is everything that became a lie that I remember when I signed the perjury. Um, when you sign a perjury, it means you lied in court, and it means in the official record and in reality you lied. I didn't understand that, but also that didn't matter because if you listened to all the stories and you heard the part about Blondie getting me to sign the perjury, he basically just poisoned me with heavy metals till I was retarded. Uh, After being beat, raped, waterboarded, forced to eat a corpse, have sex with a corpse, and do a bunch of horrible shit, and then continuously poisoned with heavy metals the entire times and drugged multiple times. They finally got me to sign the perjury by poisoning me with heavy metals. Yeah. Destroying somebody's brain's a really fucked up way to get anything, but these people don't have values or morals of any kind. I was so far gone on heavy metals that I actually forgot about the court case I was a part of. I didn't even know I was the one that reported the church. I would randomly forget my name. My vision was going bad. And my left eye was actually starting to, like, droop. Like, I have pictures on my Facebook of my left eye looking over to the side. That's how far gone I was on heavy metals by the time I finally signed the perjury. Now, nobody cares about that. They just tell you you're bitching and you're complaining, but I would love to see anybody just continuously get poisoned with heavy metals and see how well they do. Now, I guess the first thing would be 9/11. 9/11 was actually a copy and paste of Operation Northwoods, and it was the CIA, basically, but it was the church. This church I keep talking about, they did it, and it was a guy named Michael Miller that headed the operation. They did 9/11 so they could kidnap the president of Iraq's daughter, so they could extort Iraq for lower oil prices. Yeah. It's really stupid. And it's part of the reason why we're going to go back to war with the Middle East, believe it or not, because we want lower oil prices so we can keep producing gasoline engines, even though China's BYD has replaced the entire auto market with the EVs across the world. It's only America, anyways. That's the first thing. 300,000 people being human trafficked. Miss Hannah Minks was one of them. She went to the YouTube Brawl for All. People forget about that. And then a couple of brothers that are really well known actually kidnapped her because they're part of the church. They are church leaders. What else do we got? 6,000 baby rapes. Every member of this church, every father of the church, raping their own kids to emotionally stunt them. That was another thing that became a lie. The poisoning every member of the church with heavy metals, and that one was funny because the stupid bastards that were poisoning me with heavy metals. This, you gotta remember, I was retarded on heavy metals, and they actually approached me and they were pissed because once I signed the perjury, they got money. They got payouts from the church for them to get chelation therapy. And they did what metal brains do, and they wasted the money. And the church took back the money they paid out to them. And those stupid fuckers that were torturing me and poisoning me lost their money. Because they're idiots, okay? I don't know how you can... I do know how you can be that stupid. Drink Tetraled. Drink Tetraled. It'll get you there. Trust me. They did it to me. Okay. There were, the legal contract I'm under is a human trafficking contract, and what it does is they set it up so that you can't have a lawyer, or you can only use their lawyers, and their lawyers will not represent you against the church, and you're under the threat of death, and that's completely fucking legal, meaning I can't have legal help, and they'll murder any lawyer I try to get, because they're violent people. That's how that works. They're a massive, known human trafficking ring, and this is all legal because I signed a perjury, but it was legal before I signed the perjury also, which is even more fucked up when you think about it. And this church isn't the only one that does this human trafficking, by the way. There are a bunch of others that when I signed the Perjury, they got back all their fucking human trafficking victims under the threat of death and all that good jazz. This is why we need to get rid of religion. It's ridiculous. The Friedrich Nietzsche and the philosophies that the way they emotionally stunt people and then tell them to have chaos in their minds and throw out your morals and become a piece of shit and reality is subjective, lie to everyone and mislead and manipulate, all that. Teaching people to do what this church teaches people to do became illegal. There was an entire doctrine created under it, banning Friedrich Nietzsche. Yeah, they actually banned Friedrich Nietzsche. That was crazy. I didn't even know. Look, when I reported the church initially, I just said it was a human trafficking ring. Yeah. I didn't say all these things the FBI found, and the FBI didn't find them because the members of the FBI are members of this church. They knew them and then tacked them on to what I said. They were all added under the investigation when the church started getting ripped apart. There was dark money, laundering dark money. That was another thing. That was a big part of the case. The amount of churches in America that launder dark money and invade on politics and comment on politics, all that stuff. Acts of terrorism. The FBI initially refused to report the church as a terrorist group because when 9/11 happened, it scared Americans and they all ran back into churches, which is what the plan was with 9/11. That was one part of the plan with 9/11, was to get people to go back into churches. And that's part of the reason why, once again, the church leaders murder people. It's to scare people into going to church. They get members all the time from murdering people locally, and then they get scared and go to church. And that's even more fucked up because the FBI guy that called me at the end of all this, they kept wanting me to do smart things even though they knew my brain was destroyed with heavy metals, and that's not a joke. They called me and was like, every church leader has to kill 6 kids and 7 women, but then after that, every month, they have to murder somebody else. And the church infinitely feeds their church leaders neuroses. And the top leading members and the guys that worship the devil at the church are fully aware that the church leader has to murder one innocent person, and they are innocent people because if you're not a member of the church, you're not a human being. They just snatch somebody up and fucking murder them for no goddamn reason. And they said, the guy told me there's some 600,000 church leaders or something like that. Or dude, it's some crazy number. It's some ridiculous number. And all of those guys kill at least 24 people a year minimum. Because they're addicts. They're addicted to murder. And he did all the math, and it came out to some crazy number. But basically, if you have, like, people that go missing in your local town, and there doesn't seem to be a really specific crime or gang or anything, it's the church. It's the church that's doing it. Once again, once I signed the perjury, all this became a lie. So what I'm telling you right now is technically, legally considered a lie. Dude, once again, I don't know how you get this far from God. Like, holy shit, dude. Holy shit. What else was there? This stuff got, like, real crazy far-reaching, and even other countries passed a series of laws based off of what I did. Yeah. In case I think of something else, I'm just going to drop this real quick. There was a guy named Aaron that helped me get a lawyer, and he later approached me, and this is how far gone I was on heavy metals. Aaron approached me and was like, I helped you get a lawyer. I helped you do these things. and I flipped the fuck out and started screaming. There was no goddamn legal case. I never did any of that. I have no fucking idea what you're talking about, you lying, drug-addicted little bitch. And I snapped on him, and I just completely flipped the fuck out. And it was because my brain was that far destroyed on heavy metals. I was that far gone that I didn't remember the trial. I didn't remember any of this. I had people walking up to me telling me I was a piece of shit, and I literally didn't understand or know what was going on. That's how far gone my brain was on heavy metals. When we came to Florida, I thought I was in the early stages of dementia. Because I would just drool on myself and watch speed runs of Ocarina of Time. And I'd watch those 6 hours straight speed runs drooling on myself and my brain reminiscing about when it was fully functional. And that kept happening until I did research and found EDTA, and then I took EDTA, and I had a freak out about being the first memory that came up was me being waterboarded by these people. I was waterboarded. It actually fucking happened. I got fucking waterboarded. And that was my first memory, and it was like I was just trying to go to sleep, and then suddenly my entire body was PTSD. It was a PTSD moment. I flipped the fuck out because I suddenly remembered. It was so traumatic that I freaked out. If you watch my early videos, I kind of talk about that. Contract marriages, that was banned. They limited the abilities of churches legally. That was another thing that was undone when I signed the Perjury. And all these things down the line, like the president of the church has to have sex with every age of woman so the sun can go around the earth. Okay, that's how backwards retarded these people are. Yeah. Blondie is a son of a bitch. Like, I don't... Dude, the women that I had sex with that he got under contract and he's married to them now to just keep him from being killed by the church for having sex with me or whatever. It's all bullshit. I don't believe the son of a bitch at all, because he lied when he said nobody was going back into human trafficking. He lied when he said nobody was going to get hurt. He lied when he said he'd let me out of my contract. He lied, and then had the balls to come into my job and go, my word is my bond. Your word ain't worth shit, you baby raping pedophile. Okay? That guy shot and killed Carolina Ferreira, fucking the goddamn pastel bunny, in cold blood because he was trying to trick me while I was president, while I was retarded on heavy metals and high on all the fucking drugs in the world, into killing myself because he didn't like that the church was going to shit, and the church should have gone to shit. Okay, the dumb bitches out there, Jasmine trying to save the church, is one of the biggest anomalies in my life. They were literally enslaved by the church, and they were trying to defend it, and that is only one syndrome known, that is Stockholm Syndrome. Okay, we'll get back to focusing. These things all became a lie. Every church leader being every serial killer ever in America, and this is why serial killers don't get caught, because the church, there is no dividing line between the church and the FBI and CIA. There is nothing there between them outside of if a member of the church actually just decides to act against the church. When I reported the church, they originally were just going to lose the legal case while it was going up to federal, and then some guy in the FBI pulled it, found it, took it, and then carried it all the way by himself, even though he was an acting member of the church. He was acting against the church in an attempt to stop them. And there were a series of guys that decided to try and help me get this thing through. Okay. And they were all church members, so I guess there's a handful of people in the church that might be good people, but this was the thing I said when I was talking to the FBI: you gotta sort out between the good and bad people. I was like, so you want to arrest the leaders and the idiots that are poisoned with heavy metals, you need to explain to them that it's a human trafficking ring and to go home and stop their shit. Okay? That is what I told them. But I no longer feel that way because I know there are some good people in the church. It all has to go. It all has to go. Every one of them need to be dead. And even my wives, unfortunately, they've been indoctrinated into this shit. They were poisoned with heavy metals. They were raped. They were assaulted, okay? They are members, okay? They're gonna be just as disgusting and just as monstrous as everybody else in this church, okay? And it sounds bad, but there are not enough money and resources to save everyone. Which is why I say, when I say, like, if I was president of the church again, I would kill everyone, because that would be the only way to save everyone. I don't believe there is a way to just make them stop, because they don't, one of the people, when I was at Papa John's, this was really funny, I was completely gone with heavy metals, and one of the members came to me and was yelling at me, like, about that they took the money from him getting poisoned with lead, and he was telling me he was gonna fucking kill me, and he put his hands on me, he slammed me into my car, so I pushed him back, he came back, pushed me back into the car, and I pushed him back, he took a swing at me, and I just took it on the chin, because when you're poisoned with heavy metals, you don't have really good response time. So I got decked in the head, I backed up, pushed him forward, and and eventually this guy was like, I don't know right from wrong. They told me that in the psychological session. I don't know what I did to you is wrong. And I was like, you don't understand punching people in the face is wrong? Are you some kind of idiot? Yeah. I'm laughing about it. I know it's not funny, but that situation was funny because I was so far gone. I thought he didn't understand beating me up was wrong when he was trying to explain to me. He was one of the guys that poisoned me with heavy metals, and I didn't understand what he was saying. I literally didn't understand what he was saying. These people, and even the ones that were trying to help me, that, like, dude, the shit that was stupid was, after all this was done, the Black Lives Matter people got assassinated. I was a part of that coordination effort, and I was supposed to turn myself in for that, but because I had the heavy metals and the cadmium brain, and the cadmium brain is probably the most important thing, because even as president, I would just forget shit because of the cadmium that was in my head. I suspect right now I have intestinal cancer, because cadmium gets trapped in a L shape of the intestine right here, and I actually have a dull pain that's slowly getting worse over time, and I believe that's cancer. I'm poor, I can't do anything about it, I will die of it. And I have malabsorption, which is a sign of cancer. But yeah. So these people destroyed my brain and then kept wanting me to be smart after they made me stupid. And you gotta be next level dumb to want a smart person to be smart when you made them stupid on heavy metals. Even, like, I'm gonna cut it here, but I can get into that in another video.